Hello, I'm Nathanael Wrestler. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." We need to stand up to corruption and to injustice in our society. A way that we can do this is by protesting. I have a passion for peace and justice, and I want to someday be a part of a protest. So I think it's important for me, and I also think it's important for you to learn how to legally protest so that you can be as an effective agent of change in society as possible. So society's flaws and corruption must be brought to the attention of the people and must be brought to attention for the safety and for the benefit of the people. All laws should be for the common good. An Italian priest from the 1200s named Thomas Aquinas did writings about this, and Keith Wyma talked about, kind of did an overview of this. And he said all laws should be for the benefit of people. So every law that is in place should be for the good of the people that it's affecting. And that all laws should enact justice, meaning every law should all be one for the good and also be supporting justice and be promoting justice. And when we can see this is important because when we turn a blind eye to injustice, it can lead to very devastating results. An example of this is found by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who's a Lutheran pastor in Nazi Germany. And upon reflecting upon his time in Nazi Germany and the issues that he faced, he said that if the Church of Germany, early in Hitler's career, would have stood up to his oppressive policies and the power that he had when he was making smaller policies about Jews and having to register certain things and policies that were discriminatory towards crippled people and handicapped people, if the church would have stood up in that early time, then they would have been able to stop Hitler's rise to power. And we can see that when we don't stand up to injustice, that it can lead to very devastating results. So I think it's important that we learn how to legally and properly protest so that we can be as effective as possible. Now, there are many methods of protesting, some of which are violent, such as rioting and razing buildings. And it's studied by Jermaine Robinson from the University of North Carolina in regards to Russian policies and Russian politics. When he studied the history of protesting, the violent protests were the least effective ones. They didn't bring back any change, they just brought back a sharp lash from the government. But when people would nonviolently protest these policies, they were more likely to be changed. So nonviolent protesting is much better in the long term.
If the next
Okay, so we can see that there are many methods of nonviolent protesting. I'm just going to talk about one or two. Sit-downs are going into an area, like a business or a street, and everyone sit down. So it's like sitting down in the face of injustice. So you'd have hundreds and hundreds of people sitting down in this area, clouding up the area. Gene Sharp did this study. Haunting officials is following officials, so following officials of a corporation or of a system, that you would follow them around and you have hundreds of people rotating, so they would always have a presence by them, so they were always reminded of what they're being protested. They're always being reminded. Protest disrobings, I don't suggest this as much, kind of illegal, but if you want to do that, it's your call. Okay, so the American Civil Liberties Union says things about protesting, that all public places you can protest in. So sidewalks, parks, streets, anything that is a public place. And they said that you have a right to express your views regardless of how controversial or unpopular they are. However, the uscourt.gov does give a few little requirements as to what you can say and can't say. Because you can't say anything that will incite harm, such as you can't go into a movie theater and shout fire, or you can't go into an airport and shout I have a bomb, because those things can incite panic, and people have got seriously hurt because people have done that. So in general, you need to just, when you're protesting, when you're standing up, you need to be smart about what you're doing. You need to And that's why it's so important to learn and to know all the ins and outs of protesting and your rights regarding to protesting. We have a right to speak. We have a right to protest. We have a right to stand up to the injustices in our society. So we cannot sit idly by while people are getting taken advantage of, while laws are being repressive to groups of people. So that's why it's important that we learn how to properly protest, how to properly stand up to injustice, so that we can be as effective agents of change as possible. Here are some websites that will give you an in-depth look at all of the laws about protesting, about all the laws about your rights in regards to that. And if you want these websites later, I can give them to you. So I encourage you to look at those. I encourage you to learn how to protest so that you can really be as effective agent of change as you possibly can be. Thank you.